Sadashiva Samarambham Śaṅkarāchārya Madhyamam Asmadācārya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Tapobhihi Kshina Papanam Shantanam Vitaraginam Mumukshunam Apekshoyam Atmabodho Vidhiyate. We finished with the 38th sloka where he spoke about asanadi niyamam vivikta desha asinaha viragaha vivikta deshe asinaha viragaha vijitendriyaha bhavayed ekam atmanam tam anantam ananya dhihi. So vivikta deshe asinaha, sitting in a lonely empty space where there can be no distraction. Viragaha, without attachment. Vijitendriyaha, having won over his indriyas. Ekam atmanam anantam ananyadhihi bhavayet. He has to keep meditating upon that one entity without thinking about anything else. Ananyadhihi, without any thought about other objects here. This is about samadhi state. Okay. Now the next shloka. Nanu drishya prapanche swabhinnattvena drishyamane sati katham advaita bhavana siddhyati iti akankszāyam aha. Now when the drishya prapancha, when the world that we see outside seems to be as if it is separate from us. So drishya prapancha, the world which is drishyam, which is seen. Swabhinnattvena drishyamane sati, when it is being viewed as something different from Swam. Swam here is Brahman, Atma. It is being viewed as something different from the Atma. Then where can I get this Advaita Bhavana? How is it possible to accomplish an Advaita Bhavana there? No matter what, even if I sit in a Vivikta Desha, in an empty place, for nobody is there, no distraction, nothing of that sort. I keep thinking, Aham Brahmasmi, yes, all that is fine. But then that Prapancha still seems to show itself, appear in front of me. Right? So that is the question raised. So the shloka is an answer to that. Atmanyeva akhilam drishyam pravilapya dhiya sudhihi bhavayet ekam atmanam nirmala akashavat sada. Akhilam drishyam atmani eva dhiya pravilapya. One has to completely merge pravilapya, having merged the entire drishyam, akhilam, whatever is seen outside. You are going to have a sarvatma bhava here in the sense that you will have to merge everything into that one entity which is Atma. So Atmani eva, in the self itself, sudhihi, with a buddhi. So you're somewhere along the line, as you are reading things which are intellectually making sense, slowly there is an experience that you are trying to gather, and that parallel lines will merge somewhere, right? So your intellectual world and your experiential world should sort of merge and come together at some point and say, okay, everything is Atma. That is when, as you mananam, the mananam plays a big role in that. So we hope that this is what will happen at some point. Sudhihi, an intelligent person, dhiya, with his mind, with this buddhi which is without any of those chittavritti. Drishyam akhilam, or the only chittavritti that is going on in his buddhi is aham brahma asmi. Right? Or Anantam Brahma. That's the only thing that should be there in his mind. Adrishyam Akhilam. Then what happens is everything that he is seeing, Atmani Pravilapya. He completely merges it within this Atma and says everything what I see is only Avidya Kalpitam. I may see silver, but I know that it is nothing but a shell. I may see an earring, I may see a nose pin, whatever it may be. But then you will realize that, oh, it is only gold. It is just a different transformation of gold. Tatha, you see only the adhikaranam. You see only the substratum there. So, Atmani pravilapya, ekam atmanam nirmala akashavat sada bhavayet. One should always think about that ekam atmanam, that one atma, which is the entity, Brahman, as Nirmala Akasha, as Akasha which doesn't have anything in it. Even though I see blue color, I see a gray color, I see a white color. We know that there is nothing there. Nothing can attach itself to the Akasha. Why I spoke about the intellectual and experiential is, in earlier itself he took the example of this Akasha before, in the 9th or 10th shloka. Just to look at that one moment.
Like Akashavat Sarvam.
Yatha Akashavat Nrukola. Yatha 10th. Yathakasho Hrishikesho Nanopadhigato Vibhuhu Tadbhedat Bhinnavad Bhati Tannashe Kevalo Bhavet. Just as how Akasha Nana Upadhigataha, when there are many limiting adjuncts to the Akasha, we see so many different, or just like Akasha which is being covered by the Ghatam, Mathakasha, Grihakasha, or even, Anguli Akasha, something like that. So you can have different upadhis, but the moment you remove that upadhi, there is only one Akasha, and all of these are just Brahma. Same way, here it is just what is Drishtanta. We are only learning here. This is only the text as such. At this point, it should be experiential when we come to this 39th shloka. This talks about the actual experience that goes on in the mind of a sadhaka. There it was only Guru Upadesha. Here it is the experience of the sadhaka. Okay. So Akhilam Nishesham Drishyam. Drishyam is what we see. Gagane Neelatadivat. The blueness that is there in the Akasha. Paripurne Nisange Niravayave Swatmani Pratiyamanam Bhahya Abhyantara Jagadjalam Vinashtaragaditvena Advaita Swarupa Dhyana Kshamadhihi. Sudhihi. So an intelligent is not, the word is inadequate to explain what Sudhihi means. So a good buddhi here is actually Nissanga, Niravayava, Swatmani, Pratiyamanam Jagat. The world that is seen in this Atma, which is partless entity, which is Nissanga, which has no attachment to anything. Tad Jagat Jalam, Vinashtaragaditvena, Advaita Swarupa Dhyana Kshama Dhihi. All of this Jagat, which is being, or you can take it as Drishyam. This is until this is a meaning for Drishyam here. All of these things, now what happens to it is, because of the raga that is there, that was there before, the attachment that was there with all of this Jagat, any object that was there in the world, we had an attachment towards it. So there was a pravritti towards the objects that we see in the world. The moment we see an object, we want to go towards it, we want to achieve it, and it's like a landslide. There are so many that ragam becomes the first small snowball which just starts a landslide in our life, right? So that ragam continuously gives us one, we want to get it, then we start doing things to get it, we start earning money to get that, then we forget that our goal was this, but we start going behind so many other things in the world, right? So the dhihi, buddhi, completely removes itself from such attachments. Vinashtaragatitvena Advaita Swarupa Dhyana Kshama Dhihi. The buddhi which is capable of dhyana, capable of meditating upon that Advaita Swarupa, the ultimate reality, right? Brahman. Saha Sudhihi. One who has this kind of an intellect is an intelligent person. Okay. So sthira prajnaha mumukshuhu, or a person who has a sthira prajna, which does not move with sukham and dukkham, right? Labha, alabha, etc. Mumukshu, he is also a person who wants moksha. A neutral person who wants moksha, that's the only ichha there. Dhiya, again dhihi here, ukta lakshanaya dhiya, with the buddhi which does not have raga, etc., and is capable of meditating on Advaita Swarupam. Tadrisha dhiya buddhya Akhilam Drishyam. Now we go back to the first two words. So Sudhihi, an intelligent person who is capable of thinking about or meditating upon Brahman, with his brain, with his buddhi, Atmani, in his Atma, what does he do? Akhilam Drishyam Pravilapya. So Atmani here is Akashavat Paripurne Niravayave or Nissange Swasmin Eva. In this Atma, which is Nissanga, which doesn't have any Sangam, Niravayava, that has no parts, Paripurna Atma, Akashavat, just like the Akasha, just like the sky. In that Atma, he is completely now merging the entire world. In the sense that, how does this merging happen? Prakarshena avidya kalpitasya jagataha swataha satta abhavat ahameva idam sarvam. That's the format. What does merging mean? Pravilapyana, we say karakkiradhu nu artham. That is, you are completely,
Dissolving.
Dissolving, correct. You're completely dissolving the entire world in yourself. That's Pravilapya. So what is that format? Prakarshena avidya kalpitasya jagataha swataha satta abhavat. This world which has been created by avidya or ajnanam does not have a satta, existence, apart from swataha, apart from the swam, which is atma. So the jagat cannot exist. It doesn't have an existence other than the atma, because it is avidya kalpitam, it is brahma. When you look at the silver in an oyster shell, the silver does not have a separate existence other than the oyster shell. If I want to take the silver that is appearing in an oyster shell, I have to take the oyster shell here, not the silver, because there is no grahyatvam or satta for that silver there. So in the same way, this jagat is created by ajnanam, it is maya kalpitam, so there is no existence for it, for me to grab it. That's the manner in which you completely dissolve it and say ahameva idam sarvam. So I am all of this, or this is me. Aham here is the Atman. Swasatta matratvena adrishyatam gamayitva. It is not completely, it's not physical dissolving, but it doesn't appear anymore. Adrishyatam gamayitva. You ensure that it does not appear in your range of perception at all, because swasatta matratvena drishyatvat. It is only it's only I or Atma which has an existence. Nothing else has any other existence. Okay. Or utpatti pratilomyena karana abhinnam karyam iti nyayena pravilapya. This is another way of looking at it, because the world has come from the Atman. Atma is the karanam for the karyam, which is jagat. The effect is jagat. The karanam, cause, is the Atma. So when we look at how do things get destroyed, they go back into their karanam. Every karyam, every effect loses its substance and it becomes its karanam. So that is how you merge it into the karanam. So pravilapya here can mean utpatti pratilomyena, by the converse of utpatti, creation. Pratilomyam is the reverse of utpatti. Karana abhinnam karyam. The effect is non-different from the cause. Karyam is equal to karanam. Iti nyayena, by this logic, pravilapya, karyakaranayoho adrishyatam gamayitva. You again reduce the appearance of the name of karanam and name of karyam, etc. Everything becomes just that one source. Ekam kevalam atmanam satyajnanandatmakam param brahma nirmala akashavat neelatadi rahitam akasham iva. We see this atma as akasha that has no neelatvam, the blue color or anything of that sort. Sada bhavayet sakalam idam ahancha brahmaiva iti anisham anusandadhyat. So there is that dharavahika jnanam. Dharavahika, na, it's like a waterfall which never dries up. So tatha, that thought process of everything here is this jiva whose true nature is the Brahman. And everything else, including this jiva, the true nature or the substratum, the source for everything is Brahman. Iti, we have to constantly anusandadhyat. You have to keep on meditating. Anu is usually, and the continuity is being referred to by this anu. Anu is paschat. When you say dadhyat, you can just say, I am meditating. There is no specification of how long. Sandadhyat. Okay, I'm meditating really well. How? Okay, without any other thought. Fine. There also, there is no time limit specified. When you say anusandadhyat, anu gives that anupurvyena. It gives you that and the todarchimbo, continuity that is being supplied by anu. So the thought should be there in a dharavahika process. He gives from Gita, I think. Yached vang manasi prajnaha tadyached jnana atmani mahati niyached tadyached shanta atmani. It could be Upanishads also. Vak manasi prajnaha yached yamayet. Chalo. Brother, idu Kathopanishad.
Therila, but
yeah, you have a question.
Parallel, the way that you explained so beautifully is relatable to verse number 35 itself, because whatever you were mentioning about Akashavat Sarvam, Bahir Antargato Chitaha Achyutaha, and then it also talks about Sada Sarva Samaha. That piece also you touched upon. And so it's beautiful parallel between 39 and 35 that you've provided. I just couldn't realize that.
Yeah, so so the way it comes, it leads you into this. So aham akashavati sarvam becomes the process that he gives you. This is shravanam. What you read, what is intellectual, has slowly led you into making it an experience. He's giving you the process of how it should be. So you have a set of books that you read in the beginning, and then you have a Guru Upadesha. You listen to it. What is the process of listening? Shravanam. And then you do Mananam. Then when you go to Nididhyasanam, Todarchiya, that is the same thing that has to come there also. There is no new thought that is going to come there. Illa? Adudane. So, this is Yached Vang Manasi Prajnaha Tadyached Jnane Atmani. This is in Kathopanishad. Prajnaha Vak Manasi Yachet Yamayet. He has to control the Vak with his Manas, or he has to go and input the Vak into the Manas there. No? Then Tadyachet Jnane Atmani. Then he has to restrain the mind in his self, or Jnanam. Atma, which is Jnana Swarupam. That Atma Mahati Niyachet Tat. Atma. The Atma has to then go into the Mahat Tattvam, which is the Buddhi Tattvam. And then not our Buddhi, but the Mahat Tattvam, which is in the creation there. From Brahman, Maya, Mahat Tattvam, then you have Ahankara, Abdi Pordu. So in the macro creation, there is a Mahat Tattvam, which corresponds to the Buddhi of Brahman. So Mahati Niyachet Tat Yachet Shante Atmani. This Shanta Atmani is our Parabrahman. That you have to put it in Parabrahma. Shanai Shanaihi Uparamet Buddhya Dhriti Grihitaya Atma Samstham Manah Kritva Nakinchidapi Chintayet. This Gita Nanikra. So Shanai Shanaihi Uparamet Buddhya Uparamet Uparatihi Titiksha is one of the Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. So Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha. So Uparati involves not letting the buddhi go out, and you are restraining using dhriti, using an equanimity and restraining the buddhi from all of the outside world. Atma samstham manah kritva. You take the manas and start contemplating only on the Atma Swarupa. Ne kinchitapi chintayet. Very simply put. Sometimes Gita is so easy here. Jagat pratishtha devarshe prithvi apsu praliyate. This is somewhere else. Idu vandu, I think I saw this in Mahabharatam nanikra. Jagat Pratishtha Devarshe. This was in Mahabharata, Shanti Parva. Shanti Parva, some chapter, there are some 300 something chapters there. Jagat Pratishtha Devarshe Prithvi Apsu Praliyate. You know the reverse, he said Utpatti Pratilomyena Karana Abhinnam Karyam Ityuktam. So which means by the converse of Utpatti, how Samhara happens, each one will keep going into its Karanam. The Karyam, the effect will go and completely merge itself with the Karanam. And that Karanam will go and merge itself into its own Karanam until the end, which is Maya. So he is describing that process here. Jagat Pratishtha, this entire world is represented by Prithvi here. That Prithvi or the Pratishtha here is the source. Foundation of this world is Prithvi, and Prithvi Apsu Praliyate. Prithvi goes and merges itself in water. Jyotishi Apaha Praliyante. Water goes into fire. Jyotihi Vayu Praliyate. Fire goes into Vayu. And then Vayuscha liyate vyomni. Vayu goes and merges with Akasha. Tatcha avyakte praliyate. Avyaktam is Maya. Avyaktam cha purushe brahman nishkale sampraliyate. And that avyaktam, which is Maya. Vyaktam is always that which has undergone panchikaranam and become the different mahabhutas and the creation. Avyaktam is that which is not manifested, which is the original source Maya. So Avyaktam or Prakriti, it is called by many different names here. So Avyaktam goes and merges with the Purushe Brahmani. Brahmana Nishkale Purushe. Nishkale Purushe is the Parabrahman which doesn't have any Kala parts. So Nishkalam Brahma is that Brahman which is partless entity. Brahmanda Rupini Prithvi Toya Madhye Viliyate Agnina Piyate Toyam Vayuna Grasyate Analaha Akashastu Pibed Vayum Manascha Akashamevacha Buddhyankara Chittancha Kshetrajnam Paramatmani Aham Brahmeti Mam Dhyayet Ekagra Manasa Sakrit Ityadi Shruti Smriti Shatebhya. There are hundreds of Shruti Vakyas and Smriti Vakyas. So Upanishad Vakyam is Shruti Vakyam, Veda Vakyam. And Smriti is Mahabharata, Gita, etc. So this is also very similar to what we saw. Brahmanda Rupini Prithvi. Prithvi, which is of the form of this entire universe. Brahmandam. Toya Madhye Viliyate. It merges inside the waters. Agnina Piyate Toyam. The water is being drunk by Agni, which is, it goes into its source. So Vayuna Grasyate Anilaha. Analaha, the fire is being grasyate, it is being swallowed by Vayu. Akashaha pibet Vayum. Akasha drinks Vayu. It's all Lakshanaya. What it means is it merges into its Karanam Nityeva. So Manahacha Akashamevacha. Akasha goes and merges with Manas. Manas goes into Buddhi, Ahankara and Chittam. All of these are the four different Antakaranas. The Antakarana goes into Kshetrajna, which is Jiva. Jiva enters into Paramatma. So Aham Brahm, that is why Aham Brahmeti Mam Dhyayet Ekagra Manasa Sakrit. So it makes more sense since everything goes ultimately and merges with the Brahman. We have to think, we think of ourselves as one speck in one universe. Then it's like how you look at a desert. A desert is made up of so many specks of those sands. So it's like we are probably one speck in that whole பரபிரம்மா. அந்த மாதிரி we have to imagine and try to experience that. It's a tough process. சரி. ஆத்மன்யேவ அகிலம் திருஷ்யம் பிரவிலாப்பிய தியா சுதீஹி பாவயேத் ஏகமாத்மானம் நிர்மலாகாசவத் சதா.